Under the moonlight on the cliff, the long-haired leader praises our MC's insane memory. Pleased with the effort, the chief acknowledges the injured boy's hard work. After restoring all the Alliance's records, our kid listens in exhausted silence. Full of himself, the leader of the Miram Alliance shows his gratitude with a phony smile. But remembering he only memorized everything because he was ordered to, our young hero tries to argue his case. Consumed by the fury of betrayal, our hero questions if this is the payment for all he's done. Throwing the truth in his face, the villain claims that memorizing the deepest secrets has put everyone in danger. With sword in hand, the coward decrees that the young man must disappear along with his memories, all for the greater good. Finding this pathetic excuse hilarious, our boy flashes a grin of pure hatred. At that exact moment, a giant shadow strikes from behind, giving him no time to defend himself. The kid exposes the shame of the Alliance that fled from the demonic cult. Cold and calculating, the chief swears they will raise their flag again and crush the cult in the future. Mocking this flimsy promise, our MC reminds him that they sacrificed innocence as human shields to escape. Questioning this so-called greater good, our hero points out the hypocrisy of those who discard lives like trash. Staring at the traitor with bloodshot eyes, he realizes he can no longer tell who's a demon and who's an ally. With his foot on the edge of the abyss, the young man confesses his regret for ever trusting these filthy people. Reaching out with a bloody hand, he decides he won't give his enemies the satisfaction. Declaring he'll end things his own way, our MC summons his final ounce of energy. Without a second thought, he plummets off the cliff into the dark void. Memories of the Great War flood the boy's mind, showing the massacre of his old, smaller sect. Back then, the cowardly Alliance used the weaker members as cannon fodder to make their own escape easier. To save his brothers, the kid offered to memorize all their records in exchange for their lives. Falling to his doom, he bitterly regrets not going to the battlefield to fight. Completely frustrated with the heavens for giving him a perfect memory instead of a talent for fighting, our MC weeps. Nearing the absolute end, the young man feels the crushing weight of guilt in his chest. Wishing only that he'd had the strength to protect his sect brothers, some inexplicable magic starts to happen. Suddenly, an annoying voice calls his name, tearing through the silence. Feeling annoying pokes from a wooden sword, our boy opens his eyes, completely lost. Feeling the hard ground and the weapon in his hand, he grumbles, thinking his cursed memory is messing with him. Gripped by a bizarre headache, the kid concludes that this is just his life flashing before his eyes. Screaming in agony, the MC can't understand how he can feel physical pain in a simple near-end flashback. Looking around in alarm, he comes face to face with a bunch of people he hadn't seen in years. Recognizing the place instantly, the kid realizes he's in the courtyard of his beloved sect. Before him, the disciples are training exactly as they did in the old, peaceful days. Seeing the familiar faces of his training partners, our hero is in total shock. Completely frozen, he can barely believe this illusion feels so real. On an uncontrollable impulse, our MC rushes forward and crushes his two friends in a bear hug. Finding his behavior super weird, the pink-haired girl tells him to let go immediately. Complaining about the ridiculous grip, his other partner tries to figure out what's gotten into the weirdo. All around, the younger disciples whisper, thinking the senior's gone crazy. Still thinking he could drop at any second, our boy shamelessly enjoys the sweet moment. With a relieved smile on his face, he confesses that at least this part of his end is wonderful. Totally lost in the weird conversation, his two friends just stare at each other, not getting the message. Pinching the girl's cheek, our MC says he even missed her unbearable nagging. Rubbing his friend's face, he teases him, remembering the embarrassing time the kid used to wet the bed. Cutting the friendly mood short, a stuck-up rich kid asks if our boy is pretending to be crazy to get out of a fight. Pointing his wooden weapon, the bully threatens to beat the heck out of the younger kids if the duel doesn't happen. Snapping back to harsh reality, our MC laments that this nice memory had to focus on the most annoying guy in the sect. We remember this rich kid well, the one who paid a fortune to get in and used the newbies as his personal punching bags. Back then, everyone took the beatings quietly with their heads down, afraid of losing the bully's father's money. Deciding to use this supposed illusion to get some payback, our hero gets into a combat stance with a dangerous smile. Ticked off by the bold provocation, the preppy kid lunges forward, drooling with rage. Advancing quickly, the little villain unleashes the cruel technique that traumatized our MC so much in the past. This martial art, taught by a mercenary, focuses on dirty attacks and extremely aggressive moves. Eyeing the blow aimed cowardly at his eyes, the kid uses his brilliant mind to his advantage. In the past, he had zero skill to dodge and only served as a human shield for the little ones. But now, our protagonist dodges the fatal attack with humiliating ease, leaving the rich kid hitting air. Surprised by the ridiculous miss, the bully's eyes go wide, unable to process the perfect dodge. Thanks to his time locked away in the Alliance's secret archive, the boy has the ultimate advantage engraved in his brain. Bringing up everything he was forced to memorize, our MC predicts the enemy's every dirty move. Accessing his mental library, all the martial arts in the world flow magically into our boy's body. With his eyes shining with pure wisdom, he adjusts his posture for the ultimate counterattack. Executing the basic form of the lower heaven sword, the kid charges forward, cutting through the wind like a monster. With a direct hit to the rich kid's chest, the blow kicks up dust and does some nasty damage. Taking the colossal hit, the little villain spits up blood and has the wind knocked right out of him. Savoring his revenge, our hero gives a psychopathic grin, happy to finally beat the snot out of the jerk. Crying out in sharp pain, the spoiled rich kid can't handle the pressure of being the punching bag for once. Due to the absurd force of the impact, the bully's body goes flying across the training courtyard. Faced with this impossible scene, all the disciples' jaws drop in dead silence. Confused by the result, the pink-haired friend questions how he broke the rich kid's defense, using the sect's crappiest technique. Stumbling back to his senses, the preppy kid gets up, enraged, screaming that he's going to kill Arm and C. But before he can even take a threatening step, the kid is right in his face with the tip of his sword pressed against his forehead. Fired up, the little kids go wild, celebrating the overwhelming victory of the senior they always thought was weak. Satisfied with this perfect ending to his near-end illusion, our hero closes his eyes in peace. But then, out of nowhere, he takes a hard smack and yells in pain, realizing this whole thing is real and he's not gone yet. Absolutely furious, the pink-haired girl screams, asking if our hero has lost his mind. Livid at his attitude, she throws the consequences of ticking off the sect's sponsor in his face while he's still trying to process the real pain of the slaps. With wide eyes, our MC puts the pieces together, remembering the miserable days when they barely had enough to eat. Then it hits him like a ton of bricks. The realization that this wasn't some near-end delusion. Ready to scold him some more, his friend doesn't let up. Screaming, she demands to know what nonsense the senior is talking about now. In the middle of the violent shaking, our boy practically feels his soul leave his body right there in the courtyard. Now in the safety of the infirmary, he sits on the bed and tries to sort out the mess in his head. Cruel memories flood his mind, recalling the Murim Alliance's destruction by the demonic cult. In that absolute disaster, the Taya sect itself was on the brink of collapse for being on the losing side of the war. Because of his photographic memory, the young man was given the suicide mission of recording all the Alliance's records. Having bled and suffered, he memorized every single character without fail to protect his partners. In exchange for his sacrifice, his final request was simple demand that his younger brothers be spared from the bloody battles. However, the treacherous Alliance stabbed him in the back, claiming his brilliant mind had become a danger to the organization's future. Surviving the deadly fall, our MC discovers the unthinkable somehow. In some bizarre way, he has traveled to the past. Thanks to the flawless knowledge etched in his memory, the most secret martial arts are now his. Looking at the knocked-out rich kid on the ground, the boy recognizes the miracle of having won an impossible fight. With a finger in his ear in total disdain, he wonders what kind of sorcery caused this regression. Checking his wrists, the young man notices that only the Azure Dragon bracelet traveled back in time with his body. This mystical item was stolen from the king of the demonic cult and shown intensely at the exact moment he fell into the abyss. Intrigued by the artifact's absolute power, our MC is suddenly interrupted by outrageous yelling from outside. Leaping to his feet, he hears a deep voice demanding his head on a platter. With zero class, the Merchant Guild's leader is making a scene, demanding blood for the one who hurt his precious little boy. Desperate, the sect leader tries to calm things down, begging the rich man to overlook a simple kid's squabble. Full of arrogance, the merchant master refuses to forgive the humiliation caused by a mere, useless country bumpkin. Out of patience for listening quietly, our hero opens the door and comes face to face with the angry big shot. Given a second chance at life, images of his brutal end still haunt his mind. Scenes of blood and despair fuel his resolve not to make the same mistakes again. Gritting his teeth with pure determination, the boy decides that this time, no one's gonna walk all over him. With his hands behind his back in perfect posture, our MC advances to face the problem without retreating a single inch. Adjusting his sleeve, the young man prepares for the inevitable verbal showdown. With a devilish smile, he wonders what the best way is to add fuel to the fire. In the courtyard, the sect leader continues to bow like a doormat to avoid losing their vital sponsorship. Certain he has everything under control, the pot-bellied rich man announces he'll let it slide, just this once. With heavy steps on the stairs, our MC announces his presence, mocking their desperate search for him. In an exaggerated bow, the kid introduces himself with pure sass, proudly claiming the title of Country Bumpkin. Stunned by his suicidal audacity, the other sect members hold their breath in total shock. Turning around, the merchant master points a finger, spitting mad at his son's attacker. Firing right back, our boy complains about being called a brat since, mentally, they're almost the same age. Confused by the nonsensical response, the rich man blinks, not understanding the kid's twisted logic. Realizing his time travel slip up, our hero covers up the weird comment with a fake cough. Shaking off the temporary madness, the villain accuses the young man of using dirty tricks and threatens to destroy the sect's financial future. Without backing down, our MC brings up the fact that the preppy kid beat up 10 newbies and nobody made a fuss. With his hands in his hair and a sharp gaze, he accuses the old man of having an overactive imagination to justify his son's defeat. Pressured by the sudden murderous aura, the merchant master backs away, sweating and stammering in fear. Totally offended, the merchant leader asks if the cheeky kid can afford to cover the sect's sponsorship cut. Maintaining absolute calm, the boy just repeats the word responsibility with a tone of pure defiance. Laughing like a pig, the villain mocks that the Tai sect is a third-rate piece of trash about to go bankrupt, and that he could switch partners in the snap of a finger. With a cynical smile, our MC flips the script, asking what the suits are going to do with their lives if the contract is torn up. Despite its decline, the Tai sect still holds the title of belonging to the 108 Peaks, granting a very rare privilege in the martial world. This magic pass allows them to recommend a single disciple to the prestigious Miram Academy, without them having to take the hellish entrance exam. It's clear from the old man's dumbstruck face that his spoiled son has no talent whatsoever and had to buy his way in. Through a mountain of money, the preppy kid's goal was to steal this special spot guaranteed by the failing sect. Aware of this huge weak spot, our hero tells the rich man to cut the sponsorship without batting an eye. With a maniacal grin, he takes all the blame, revealing he has a fatal curiosity about the merchant's choices. Eyeing the pot-bellied man from head to toe, the young man reminds him that the Academy's registration deadline is less than a year away. In a direct attack, he asks point blank if the useless son was rejected by all the other major sects and had to come crawling to the bottom of the barrel. After that blow to his pride, the merchant master's veins nearly burst with uncontrollable rage. Grabbed by the collar, our MC faces the old man, who's flailing and demanding respect in the face of his supposed financial power. Unfazed, the kid breaks the fat man's posture with a sharp shove, while the rich guy screams that they are the only saviors of this place. Grabbing the rich man by the neck, our hero whispers the raw, unvarnished truth. In a cold tone, he decrees that the Tai sect is the merchant guild's only lifeboat for surviving in the capital. In his past life, this same cowardly sponsor cut their funding at the first opportunity, throwing the sect to the wolves. Faced with the humiliating image of the old man begging in the past, the young man reaffirms that begging others for protection is a death sentence. Shoving the useless big shot aside, our MC declares the supreme law of the martial world, where only brute force decides who lives or perishes. This blood-stained wisdom was the greatest tactical prize he won after kicking the bucket in his past life. With a hand on his chin, the kid starts architecting his master plan to get ridiculously overpowered in record time. Shadows of colossal monsters flash through his mind, serving as a warning of the absurd dangers that await him. Alone in the darkness of the cave, his main focus now is to evolve brutally without relying on masters or allies. After checking his sect's pathetic techniques, he concludes that training the lower Heathen Sword manual won't give him enough power to take on the elite. The obvious solution is to cheat the system by swallowing rare spiritual elixirs to boost his internal energy to the absolute limit. Thanks to his past suicide mission, the exact location of every miraculous plant in Jiangsu is perfectly cataloged in his brain. The only deadly problem in this treasure hunt is that monstrous beasts guard every magical ingredient scattered across the world. Unafraid of the risks, the boy accepts the challenge and declares that the 10,000-year-old fire ginseng will be his first prey. Sword in hand, in a furious dash, he charges against the wind, vowing to slice any guardian with a single, devastating strike. Scoffing at the idea of pointlessly trying hard, our MC admits his internal energy and sword skills are trash. He strikes a match and quickly lights a torch. He remembers that after devouring thousands of books, he noticed a brilliant loophole. Without needing any incredible blade skills, he hurls the fire directly at the giant spider's web. Engulfed in flames, the bizarre, human-faced monster lets out a horrifying scream. It causes a colossal explosion, and our hero strikes a victor's pose in the middle of the inferno. He clenches his fist tightly and gives a sarcastic thank you. He screams at the top of his lungs that he loves those scumbags from the Miram Alliance for forcing him to train his memory. According to the manual's records, the disgusting creature was immune to normal weapons, but turned into barbecue easily with fire attacks. With the guardian gone, the magical flower of the ancient ginseng is left completely unprotected on the ground. He shoves the entire rare plant into his stomach without a second thought. He feels his body react but soon realizes the energy he absorbed was pathetic. He falls into absolute despair, screaming that this isn't enough to get strong. Frustrated by the pitiful result, he realizes he ate an incredible treasure and absorbed almost nothing. He drops to his knees on the ground, instantly figuring out that his sect's breathing technique is the real culprit for being complete garbage. Sprawled on the cold ground, the kid feels the weight of his own weakness. He laments that at this rate, he'll never be able to save his sect brothers. He deeply fears the bloodbath that's bound to happen in the future. Horrible images of the war flash through his mind, showing his friends used as disposable shields. He promises himself he'll become an untouchable figure in the Alliance before the war breaks out. Getting into the Murim Academy within a year is the mandatory first step of his plan. He grips the cave rocks in anger, knowing he wouldn't even pass the admission test at this level. He's boiling with frustration, desperately needing more internal energy to change his fate. Water drips in the silence as the boy's mind works a mile a minute. He immediately thinks of the fastest solution and mutters about other elixirs. His eyes widen as he remembers the famous snow plum elixir that belongs to the rich kid from the guild. Back then, the rich kid's father spent a fortune to buy the sacred pill from Mount Hoa. However, one day before the boy was supposed to take it, the item mysteriously vanished. Since the thief was never caught, our protagonist realizes he has a golden opportunity in his hands. Convinced that criminals always leave a trail, he accesses his brilliant mind in search of clues. He dives deep into his mind palace, ready to turn over every archived document. He accesses the monthly reports from the Hefei branch in fractions of a second. Information flies through his head like a hurricane of raw data. He filters hundreds of thousands of lines of text, searching for the perfect anomaly. He's sure the thief's identity is buried in the records he was forced to memorize. He cross-references entry logs and mission reports from around the time the pill disappeared. He puts the pieces of the puzzle together, eliminating suspects through logical deduction. He isolates the names of the biggest martial criminals who were in the region on that day. He claps his hands together, having reached a brilliant conclusion. He gives a smug smile upon realizing that being a human library finally came in handy for something. He selfishly declares that he's going to steal the snow elixir for himself and ruin the bully's life. Back in the dark cave, he hears a strange noise coming from the monster's carcass. He notices the mystical bracelet on his wrist has started glowing out of nowhere. Startled, he sees a bizarre green energy coming from the spider's remains. He watches in shock as the magical artifact pulls that venomous aura with absurd force. In the blink of an eye, the jewel sucks up the disgusting creature's entire life essence. He feels the demonic beast's core invade his body through the stolen item. Outside the cave, the spiritual pressure scares away the birds in the forest. He's engulfed in a hurricane of chaotic power as his body absorbs it all. He opens his eyes, which now glow with an intense, pure blue energy. He bursts out laughing, feeling the power flow through his veins, and finding the whole situation insane. He remembers taking this bracelet from the corpse of a blood-sucking demon in his past life. He only kept the jewel as a trophy, but now he's discovered its true, absurd function. He throws a punch into the air to test his new physical strength. It causes a violent shockwave that shatters the cave floor to pieces. He discovers that the artifact purifies, poisons, and harmonizes perfectly even with his garbage technique. He thanks the heavens, because his internal energy just skyrocketed thanks to a treasure from the dark side. Far away, the city gossips about the wealth of the merchant master who bought the famous elixir for his son. In the middle of a luxurious banquet, suck-ups kiss up to the rich old man, praising his financial power. They comment in awe that the pill from Mount Hoa is second in quality only to unreachable legends. They reaffirm that it's a treasure so rare that even big shots can't buy it. Back at the sect, the pink-haired girl waits, leaning against a wall, mentally cursing our MC. She gets lost in thought, replaying the crazy events of that day. She feels a pang in her chest for letting the boy face the stuck-up rich kid alone. She firmly believes the kid ran away from the mountain to divert the merchant guild's fury. She mutters, calling our hero an idiot for trying to carry the whole burden on his shoulders. Suddenly, the newbies come running up, breaking the senior's dramatic mood. They bring plates full of meat they stole from the suit's banquet. They offer the delicious food for the girl to try, their eyes sparkling. She gives a sweet smile and tells the little ones to devour it all, since they went hungry the day before. Soon, the brats start teasing her, asking if she was thinking about the handsome guy who disappeared. They point and laugh, saying the chatterbox always gets quiet when the topic is the senior. They show her a huge piece of chicken, letting her know they saved his favorite food. Without a shred of pity, the pink-haired girl steals the special piece and swallows it in one go. She sticks her tongue out, taunting the newbies and threatening to eat everything if they don't hurry up. Eyes wide, the newbies yell indignantly at the blatant theft. Laughing hard, the pink-haired girl chokes on the chicken while the kids try to get their food back. With her face red, she calls the hero a jerk deep down in her heart. In another part of the city, the party is in full swing at the rich man's mansion, who thinks he has the world in his hands. Surrounded by bootlickers, the pot-bellied man chugs wine, laughing at his guests' lame jokes. Drinking and watching the dancing in the hall, the atmosphere is one of pure ostentation and ignorance. Outside the mansion, a dangerous shadow moves as fast as lightning across the roof. Landing without a sound, the intruder glides along the eaves, cutting through the night wind. In an agile leap, the masked thief lands softly on the ground and lets out a muffled chuckle. Holding the stolen box, the criminal scoffs at the guild's ridiculous safe security. Wasting no time, the thief opens the lid and admires the surreal glow of the sacred pill. Admiring the treasure, the mercenary smells the powerful scent of the rare medicine in the air. Drunk on power, he's thrilled, knowing that little ball will unlock his ultimate palm of madness technique. Turning his back, the masked man quickly puts the box away, ready to vanish off the map. Suddenly, a blade cuts through the air, grazing past him and forcing the thief to jump to avoid getting diced. Letting his guard down, the thief feels his blood-stained hand clutch the red box. Smiling maliciously, a new voice declares that he really needs that treasure too. Joking about the situation, the newcomer apologizes for the cut, but says they're one and the same. Stating it plainly, the masked hero confesses he just needs a tiny piece of that wealth. A quick flashback shows our MC visiting a shabby shop days before the famous robbery. Entering the dusty warehouse, the boy observes the dozens of contraptions hanging on the walls. Walking slowly, he approaches the seller, stating that he's heard about the rare products sold there. Straight to the point, the kid asks if the guy deals in traps made exclusively for hunting humans. Startled, the merchant drops his tool and slams a knife into the wooden counter. Laughing nervously, the old man replies that he has traps for bears and wolves, but doesn't sell anything illegal. Changing tactics, the hero throws a heavy bag of coins on the table and asks for the strongest trap in the shop. Hiding his face in the shadows, the boy makes it clear he doesn't care if the animal's fur gets ruined, as long as it triggers fast. His eyes wide, the shop owner listens as the crazy customer asks for something that sends the target to an early grave on the first hit. Swaying, the old hunter feels his 27 years of professional instinct telling him to kick the kid out. Back in the present, the wind blows hard, lifting dead leaves in the mansion's courtyard as the tension rises. Amused, the pill-stealing mercenary says he's heard of some famous guys in the martial world, but they seem like cannon fodder. Holding the box tightly, the thief adjusts his hair, getting ready to throw down. Stomping on the ground, one of the hidden cronies laughs loudly, confirming the boss's expectations. Mocking their low guard, the second thief thinks the whole operation is too easy to be true. Discussing the plan, the group decides they'll hide the bodies and report their leader as missing. But before the blood flies, they agree to take a peek at the famous stolen treasure. Opening the box, the three stooges are amazed by the pill's magical light. Sniffing the strong fragrance from Manhwa, they drool over the prize, confirming the item's authenticity. In the midst of their admiration, it dawns on them that there are too many people for too little loot. Tearing through the wind, a hooded figure lands in the middle of their circle, terrifying the bandits. Desperate, one of the mercenaries screams, asking where the masked kid came from and how he stole the box so quickly. Shouts echo, ordering the newcomer to catch the thief immediately. With bloodshot eyes, the villain attacks, swearing the intruder will pay dearly for coveting what isn't his. Escaping with agility, our MC mocks their hypocrisy, calling the band of thieves cynical. Leaping through the branches, he reminds them out loud that they were the ones who stole the treasure first. Furious, the sword-wielding bandit picks up the pace, vowing to chop the kid into 1,000 pieces. Leaping toward the ground, the masked hero dodges the attacks, preparing his counter. In a mocking tone, our MC warns the enemy to watch his step. Ignoring the advice, the big guy lands hard and an iron jaw snaps violently on his leg. The sharp sound of tearing flesh echoes through the forest, splattering blood on the leaves. Watching his companion scream, the other mercenary stops abruptly and calls the intruder a coward. Angry, he questions the honor of a swordsman who uses such low, dirty tricks. Drawing his curved blade, the villain tells the kid to take off the mask and show his face. Calmly, the hero adjusts his glove as he faces the challenge. Shrugging, the protagonist returns the question, wanting to know if the big guy is also a nobody from some forgotten sect. Pushing his buttons, he kicks a stone away and calls the enemy's tactics old. Responding with fury, the mercenary charges, crushing the ground with the force of an angry bull. Dripping with rage sweat, the villain completely loses control. Full of swagger, the masked man declares himself the new official owner of the pill and mocks their failed plan. Recalling his deductive mental process, he explains how he pinpointed the real culprits' identities from the old records. Upon reviewing the past data, the young man noticed that no master had mysteriously powered up after the pill was stolen. From this, he concluded that the original thief was silenced and buried in a hole before he could use his prize. Connecting the dots, the kid accuses the swordsman from the Qiangcheng sect of having killed their robbery partner. Finding the situation amusing, the villain confirms the story and admits they are indeed their own companion's murderers. Screaming at the top of his lungs, the big guy threatens our MC with the fury of the Martial Alliance. Out of patience, the hero retorts that he didn't expect to run into other thieves in the middle of a heist either. Pissed off, the enemy warns that cheap trap tricks won't work a second time. Smashing the ground, the mercenary destroys the hidden stakes in the earth with sheer brute force. Showing his agility, the masked kid retreats as dust and iron fragments fly. With a confident smile, the villain raises his sword, thinking he's already won the fight. Momentarily trapped, our MC curses under his breath, realizing the main trap failed. Laughing, the bandit declares that the next step is to take the intruder's head. Dodging into the trees, the hero quickly retreats to rethink his strategy. Telling his partner to go after him, the villain warns him to be careful of the trap-filled terrain. Blinded by rage, the big guy ignores the warnings and runs straight for the carpet of dead leaves, thinking he just needs to follow the kid's footsteps. Spinning in the air, the masked hero dodges elegantly, confirming the enemy's theory that there were many traps. Laughing loudly, the big mercenary smashes the ground, thinking he's ruined the entire plan. Landing on the branches, our MC watches the dust settle, calculating his next moves. Quickly retreating along the tree trunks, he keeps his distance from the furious brute. With a psychopathic smile, the villain raises his blade, swearing this is the end of the line. Gliding through the air in a calculated leap, the kid focuses all his attention on the ground below. He touches the tip of his boot to a specific leaf, and the magic happens. Triggered by pressure, a monstrous bear trap shatters the big guy's shin, who screams in pain. Gushing blood everywhere, the entire gang falls into the sharp traps hidden in the brush. Approaching, the masked man adjusts his glove, mocking the guy's stupidity. Surveying the area, he reveals that following in his footsteps was an absurdly dumb move. Realizing the evil genius of it, the wounded villain spits blood, indignant at the kid's precision. Desperate, he asks how the hell the intruder walked through a minefield without a single misstep. Picking up the fallen sword from the ground, our MC gives the simplest, coldest answer possible. Showing his glowing eyes, he thanks the heavens for the only gift he received, an absolute photographic memory. Slicing through the wind, the blade comes down fast, silencing the questions once and for all. The next morning, the majestic facade of the Miram Alliance's Hefei branch shines under the sun. Sipping tea calmly, an important big shot observes the movement down below. This well-dressed guy is none other than the Alliance's chief strategist, a living legend of planning. Sitting across from him, the leader of the Namgang family agrees that weak sects are growing way too fast in the region. Suggesting a purge, the Namgang elder says it's high time they replace the inactive sects of the 108 peaks. Blowing on his tea, the strategist instantly figures out who the old man is talking about. Confirming the rumors, the head of intelligence asks if the powerful Namgang family is sponsoring the rival Iron Sword sect. With a cynical little smile, he warns that the privileges of the sacred peaks can't be taken on a whim. Hiding his interest, the old man asks if the bankrupt Teye sect hasn't done anything wrong lately. Fishing for information, the elder accuses the newbies of selling spots in the academy using the Alliance's name. Slamming his cup on the table, the strategist warns that this is a very serious accusation. With a dirty smile, the old man accuses the rival sect of acting purely for personal profit. Without losing his composure, Chief Namgang argues that the special admission privilege is turning into a black market. Sharpening his tone, he condemns such a great honor being used to line the pockets of losers. Outside, birds sing on the roof, oblivious to the dirty dealings happening in the office. Tense silence fills the room as the strategist analyzes the old man's words. Trying to soften the blow, Leader Namgang pretends he doesn't want to steal the spot for himself. Sweeting a little, he swears his only goal is to protect the Alliance's honor. With an emotional speech, he recalls that the spots were given to honor those who fell in the war against the demons. Pouring more tea, the fake old man continues his theatrics of indignation. Placing the cup firmly on the table, he claims his heart aches to see such nobility stained by money. While the powerful scheme in the shadows, night falls at a distant inn. In a dark room, our shirtless MC meditates, surrounded by a brutal blue aura. Floating slightly in the air, his body absorbs every drop of the newly acquired magical energy. Clenching his fist violently, he feels his bones crack with sheer brute force. Laughing loudly, the kid celebrates that the supercharged elixir gave him 30 years of internal energy all at once. Putting his clothes back on, the hero realizes his current strength already humiliates his past self. Going down the inn stairs, he runs into the relieved waiter. Complaining of hunger, the kid asks for any food left in the kitchen. Shocked by the late hour, the waiter stammers that the kitchen is already closed. Placing a bag of coins on the table, our MC solves the problem with a good old-fashioned bribe. With a sly smile, he mutters that money really can buy off anyone's laziness. He thinks with relief that it was a great idea to hunt some demonic beasts beforehand to make some cash. Recalling the massacre, the kid summons the blue energy, remembering the bracelet's absurd effect. With this mystical jewel, he can extract and purify the life force of any creature. Selling the tiger pelts he got along the way served as a nice bonus for his wallet. Sitting at the table, he reflects that fast cash is good, but the method is extremely risky. Looking at his wrist, the young man fears the artifact looks a lot like forbidden dark magic. If anyone from the Miram Alliance sees this energy absorption, they'll definitely mistake him for a demonic cultist. He remembers that the art of devouring the heavens is strictly forbidden and punishes any user with certain demise. Clenching his hand, he vows to hide this brutal power from the world to protect the sect and his own skin. Soon after, the waiter returns, carrying trays loaded with fragrant food. Drooling over the stuffed buns and meat, The hero praises the night cook's hidden talent. As he chews, the kid notices the attendant just standing there, not wanting to leave. Chewing with his mouth full, our MC asks what gossip the waiter is dying to spill. Excited, the employee pulls up a chair to whisper about the merchant guild. Faking wide eyes, the boy swallows hard, waiting to hear about his masterpiece. Bragging, the waiter reports that the elixir vanished in the middle of a packed banquet, and the thief became a legend. Kicking the table, the young man feigns outrage, asking if the Alliance has arrested anyone yet. Choking on his water, he tries to maintain a concerned look about the investigation. Pushing it, he wants to know if the elite team found any fingerprints or stray hairs. Sweating bullets internally, the kid thinks that if they arrested an innocent person, he's screwed. Sighing in relief, he hears that the tracks vanished into thin air, and the investigators came back empty-handed. With a small smirk, the hero pretends to feel sorry for the elixir's owner, who lost his treasure. Changing the subject, the waiter laments that the inn lost customers because of the robbery, but another banquet will soon bring business booming. Confused, our MC wants to know who else is throwing a huge party in Heist so soon. Happy about the business, the employee announces that the leader of the Iron Sword sect is celebrating his 60th birthday. Instantly, the kid's smile vanishes upon hearing that cursed name. Bloody images invade his head, bringing back the dark memory of that exact event in his past life. Bitter memories surface, showing the cruel face of the Iron Sword leader at that fateful banquet. Biting his finger in hatred, the hero recalls the most humiliating moment of his entire life. In front of dozens of arrogant masters, his own father figure was forced to bow and beg for forgiveness on the floor. Mocked by all, the old man swallowed his pride to save the useless boy's skin. And all of it happened solely because his weak self didn't know how to defend himself and stirred up trouble for no reason. Vowing to change his fate, the kid swears he will stay far away from that cursed party at all costs. Slapping the table, he thanks the waiter for the meal, leaving him hanging, confused by the rush. Disappearing into the inn's darkness, our MC affirms he will never let his father figure suffer such shame again. Determined to avoid the disaster, he tries to follow a different path, but the universe has a horrible sense of humor. In a sharp cut to the present at the banquet, our hero is already seen brutally blocking a heavy sword. With energy bursting from all sides, he wonders how the heck he ended up in the middle of a death match against the enemy leader's grandson.